All right, man. Introduce yourself. Let us know who we sitting with today.
Today, JD, you're sitting with Jesus D. Gonzalez Cardona, fellow American. Grew up in New York City for 43 years. Was born in Colombia actually, but they got our visas in 1979. So we left Colombia at a very early age, where we got to Washington Heights. My mother used to suffer from depression, so we used to travel back and forth for a few months. And when we finally decided to step in New York, we stood in Washington Heights with my dad, and from there we went to live in the Bronx.
Okay, so when were you born?
I was born in 1976, JD, and I left to our visas got taken out in 1979 because back then it was very easy for Colombians to get visas.
Okay, so when you were born in 76 here in Colombia, in 79, roughly, I guess about 3 years old, you started traveling to the U.S., so you would go back and forth between Colombia and the U.S. in the early days?
That's right, because my mother suffered from depression.
Gotcha.
And since I was the only kid, my mother would take me everywhere. So she would take me out of school sometimes, let's go back to Colombia, let's go back to the States. My father, it was a fight between my father and my mother until my father finally got me there in 84. He goes, "You're not taking my son down there no more." And that's how I started my elementary high school.
Okay, so roughly about the age of 7 or 8 years old,
yes,
that's when you stayed. 7 years old, you stayed in the States.
Because I remember having my 7th birthday that my auntie bought me a cake in Washington Heights.
Washington Heights, okay, cool. So, so you said your mother was bringing you back and forth when you were the only child. So at that time, you being the only child, obviously you're the oldest. You have siblings?
Another brother was born in 1982. He was born in the Presbyterian Hospital in Washington Heights on 168th and Broadway. We lived opposite lives. When he was a newborn, I remember going back to Colombia. We left him down there, and I came back. We flew a lot because at that time my mother was selling gold. Gold was cheap from Colombia to America. So my mother, between my mother and my father, they had a few dollars, not rich. And so my brother decided to stay an American citizen, stay in Colombia, never come back to the United States until like 15 years later. And I was the Colombian guy who grew up in New York.
Okay, cool. So your brother, you said, was born in 1982, and you have other siblings.
I have other siblings. That was after a while that my father divorced. He met this lady here in Colombia who he brought up through the Mexican border because they didn't approve a visa. He paid a whole bunch of money back in the 80s, $10,000 to get out, because they say that when the whole coyote and the camada of people crossing the border, my brother happened to drop his milk bottle and it was still warm. That's why immigration knew that there were people surrounded and everybody got busted.
Wow.
So my brother had to go to Texas or Arizona to get around. Today, she's a biology teacher. She's an American citizen, which I'm not. My biggest problem, JD, was that I never became a citizen. I slept on it, thinking that I had a permanent resident card would help me out, but it didn't. That was it expired, so that gave Trump an opportunity to get me out of the country and deported me.
Okay, so your brother who dropped the baby bottle with his mother, was that a brother that was born after your first brother, or is that the same brother that was born in 1982?
No, from the original matrimony before my stepmom, I'm the first one.
Okay.
Juan, 1982 brother, original matrimony.
Okay.
From the stepmom is Angel, who later on became a doctor at UCLA Berkeley.
Okay.
And my sister, who was born in New York. So that was
okay. So when were they born?
Natalia was born in 1986. 87. Angel was born in, I don't recall.
Okay. And that's so you have altogether 2 brothers and 1 sister?
Besides myself?
Right.
Yes, Jake.
Okay, so including you, there's 3 boys and 1 girl.
That is correct.
Got you.
Who no one helps me out for nothing. After
Gotcha.
I help these people out so much.
Okay, so you said your brother graduated from
UCLA Berkeley.
UCLA.
He has a PhD in American history. He's a principal now in New York.
Okay, so he's a principal in New York. And what about your other brother?
My other brother works here in Colombia. He's an American citizen. He works at Mercado Libre, which is a very good company. But because I always had a problem with drugs, but JD, I was always a very good brother. I was never that crackhead walking in the streets with the bag. I was never that crack. I was always a functional drug addict. Guys, you want to go to the city? Guys, you want to go to the movies? My brother will call me, bro, I need $100. Boom. My brother will call me from Colombia. I got no food in the refrigerator. Boom, $100. 50. I gave, because I was a limousine dispatcher. I kept my job. I was a working addict for a while. And now that I don't want to jump into any conclusion, JD. What did you want to ask me? Because I know we're going from parts here.
No, it's all good. So your brother that lives here in Colombia, is that your first brother?
Yes.
Okay, and how long has he been in Colombia?
All his life.
Oh, so he never went to the States?
He went to the States when I brought him for vacation. I bought him clothes. I sent them back with $500. And you think I have seen a 50,000 peso Colombiano from his side? I know he got kids, my beautiful nephew, my beautiful niece, but they think that I'm doing drugs.
Okay, so since you've been here, your brother hasn't had anything to do with you. Okay, so you were raised in New York.
I was more than raised in New York. I grew up, when we first got to New York in the 80s, we ended up in Washington Heights, Cabrini Boulevard, very nice area on the Jewish side. If you go a couple of blocks up to Broadway, that's where all the Dominicans was at. Got along with everybody. Then from there, we moved to the Bronx, to the Boogie Down. We lived there for a while. My father paid rent for a while. And then after a while, my father got this connection from this Chilean guy, because, you know, being a super in New York is someone that takes, like a manager in California. A manager takes care of the building,
right,
gets paid. But I was the one that did all the garbage work, painted the apartments. I was a little bit abused for no money. And so psychologically, I was like, you know, where are my other brothers, man? Since they don't use any drugs, they didn't smoke a cigarette, so I'm the slave, you know. And they started treating me like shit. Excuse my language, guy. Excuse the language, guys. And then I started working as a limousine dispatcher. I made good money for a while, but New York is very expensive. Uber came in the picture, and Uber just knocked everything down. Our salaries got lowered. In that industry of dispatching limousines, the dispatchers, they use a lot of drugs, you know, just to stay up. And so my permit of residing car got expired. I started messing with painkillers, Oxycontin, Percocet, Vicodin. I got busted for having so many pills with the town where I was living in Long Island. And the DEA called me with a lot of pills, presented myself to a judge, and eventually I got deported.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
How early was your first experience with any kind of drugs or substances or anything?
I started with weed in my teens. I would say between 16 to the 19. Then I tried cocaine between the age of 19, 27.
Okay, so how did the cocaine come into the picture?
Cocaine came to the picture because I was hanging out with the Dominicans. It's just the Dominicans ran the game in Washington Heights and they sold it all. There will never be someone that will not offer you and say, hey, you want to try this a little bit? And got hooked.
Okay.
And then from there, ecstasy until, finally I graduated from the Percocets, the Vicodins, and the day that I did that, JD, that was the day that was the day of my marriage. That was the day I got married. I didn't want to taste any other drug because I felt powerful.
Okay, so how old were you when you got married?
To those pills?
Oh, you're talking about that kind of marriage.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. How old were you then?
35, 37.
35, okay. So you say cocaine from 19 to 27 years old, and then at 35 is when you started dabbling with the painkillers.
Exactly.
Okay, so how did that change your life?
It
Once
changed
that came
my
into
life
the picture.
completely because the doctor saw I had insurance, and the doctor saw that I was very addicted to that. The doctor took the medication away. I got crazy, so then after that, you look for the heroin.
Right, okay.
Right, I went crazy. I started losing jobs, and I remember ordering a bottle of Vicodin under my boss's name with no permission. They called his number to come pick up the medication. He says, Jesus, did you order a bottle of Vicodin under my name? And I was like, I did. They called the police. The police officer who liked me very much, was Jesus. There's nothing much I can do. We like you a lot. We gotta run this by DEA. And DEA that I had so many pills. I had Xanax, Roxys, Ambience, Percocets.
Okay, so you say the painkillers came in when you were 35 years old, and then you made a reference to you slamming heroin. How old were you when that came into the picture?
The heroin came into the picture in my 40s.
Okay.
In my 40s because I couldn't afford the pills anymore. I used to get 120 Vicodins for $6 in Rite Aid and Walgreens. When the doctor took the prescription off, they were $10 a piece in the street. Couldn't make it no more, JD. DEA came, deported me. I went through so many states before I hit Colombia, Bogota, Louisiana, Florida, Jacksonville, with a whole bunch of people. I landed in Colombia. I started working in the call centers a little bit. It was an abuse. But since I saw the pills that I was taking, it was for my sciatica back, but I abused them a lot. I couldn't find them here. I was drinking codeine, and I was calling in sick. My job, and the guy says to me, Jesus, your English, the best. Your customer service, the best. But you don't come to work on Mondays with no doctors know, you're no good for me. And I started getting fired. I lost my apartment. I lost my room. I ended up in the street.
Okay, so were you ever in a relationship, or do you have any kids?
I don't have a wife. I'm straight. I don't have any kids.
Okay.
Sometimes I go 2 days with no food. The shelter where I stay in Prado is very dangerous. I sleep with thieves. I wake up sometimes and I don't have my shoes. So I'm suffering a lot. I
Gotcha.
hope somebody can help me try to get up to the States, man. And because I was born here, but I'm completely strange to here, man.
Right.
This is, I don't know where I'm at. I know I'm in El Poblado, but I walk around the streets nervous, man.
So let's go back a little bit. So you said you were deported. How did the deportation process come about? You said you got you had a situation with the DEA.
And
How did that come about?
The DEA saw that I had too many narcotics.
Okay.
It was too much. DEA reported that to I don't know who they did. Immigration. I don't know. I was so stressed out with so much in my head, knowing that I was in deep shit. They came and got me. They got me in a white suit. They put me on a plane in LaGuardia. LaGuardia was Fort Lauderdale, then Louisiana, and I started going to different camps. You know,
okay.
Before I got shipped to Colombia.
So when you went to these different camps, was it a thing where people were being transported like you?
Yes.
From place to place until ultimately you landed in
If
Colombia?
somebody tells you I got deported, went straight to my country, is a lie. You go through a process of at least 3 months suffering.
Okay.
You know, the females, oh my God, I mean, it's sad what you see in these places. And for me to sleep in a sidewalk after I had a great life, Manhattan, limousines, I was never a drug dealer like that. It feels just for me. Once in a while, I will sell one here, one here to friends. You know, but Webster Hall, nightclub in Manhattan, and the best fucking females, excuse my language, nice food. For me to be begging for a freaking coin in the street hurts me, man.
Right.
You know, I want somebody to like, if somebody sees this video and sees that I'm a good guy, man, and they can get in touch with you because I have no access to any social media, and you my right hand man, somebody I trust, I will appreciate that, man.
Right. Well, so let's go back to because I want to break down the deportation process a little further. So you never got arrested or went to jail? You never had to do any jail time?
No, it was just the deportation stuff.
Okay, so once they saw you with the drugs and they saw that your papers expired.
Once they saw me with the drugs, Floral Park Police made me write a letter to the judge.
Okay.
Saying that I would never do that again, blah, blah, blah. And they just sent me to Westbury, Long Island, DEA, and they started the process. So they were like, hot potato, take this hot potato, you know?
Got you.
That's how it happened. But I never did no jail time, but in this campsites, you know?
Got you. So you said you were flown from LaGuardia to Florida.
Fort Lauderdale.
And then from Fort Lauderdale, were you being transported via bus or plane as well?
White planes.
Okay, always planes. Okay. So what do these planes look like for the people who've never been deported? Are these like regular commercial planes or?
They are white planes with nothing written on it. You sit down, you get handcuffed to the ankles and shackles. And that's it. You treat it like the movie The Fugitive with Harrison Ford, you know?
Or Con Air.
Yeah.
Right, with Nicolas Cage. So how many people would be on this plane with you? Like when you flew from New York to Florida, how many people were on the plane with you?
New York to Florida, about 90.
Okay.
Florida to the other city, about 190. Once you hit Louisiana, about 300.
Okay.
And they set you in camps. It's not like you go to Colombia right away.
Okay,
You're
so
in camps for at least 2 months.
Okay.
They make you suffer a little bit, I understand, but I wasn't a criminal, man.
Okay, so what were these camps like?
Camps are horrible. It's just like the shelter where I stay. People walking around, a lot of Cubans, a lot of Venezuelans.
Okay, so what was your last destination in the States before you were brought to Colombia?
Louisiana.
Okay, so you were brought from Louisiana to Colombia.
To El Dorado, Bogota.
Okay, so explain to us what it's like when you land in Colombia.
When you land in Colombia, DEA is waiting for you at the airport, and DEA hands you to the Colombian police, narcotics.
Okay.
And they are the ones in charge to send you the little planes to the city you belongs to, and you in jail for a little while and out in the streets. They don't give a fuck about it. They don't care about you.
Okay, so for people who don't understand, like myself, right? So when someone gets deported from the U.S. to Colombia, they take you to the city that you were born in.
They take you to, yes.
Okay. So they brought you here because this is where you were born, which is Medellin, Colombia. Okay. So how long have you been in Medellin? Like
A year.
Okay, so you've been here, you were deported here a year ago. Okay, so what has it been like? What was it like for let's say like the first month or so, and then what has it been like since then?
It's been a nightmare, Bob. It's been a nightmare. Trying to walk the streets, not get stabbed, not get hurt, not get robbed. It's bad for me, man. So I hit this shelter over here, but they rob you every day. So sometimes I'd rather sleep on the bench.
Okay.
And coming from where I come from, it hurts me a lot, JD. Sometimes I cry a lot, you know? I wake up in the morning 2 days and don't have money to eat. You know, it's like, I tell people, I'm not using any drugs anymore. You know, this freaking depression that I have just put all that shit away.
So you've been drug free?
I've been drug free
Since
for a
you've been?
while. I'm
Okay.
suffering a lot. And I just pray to God that He blesses me, that He continue blesses me, because God is big, and I know He's gonna get me out of this, man.
Okay, so for those who don't know, who are unaware, who've never been deported to Colombia in particular, right? When somebody like yourself gets deported from the U.S. to here, are there any programs for people like yourself? Is there any resources?
There's a few programs here.
Okay.
There's a few programs here, but
So what's some details about the program?
I mean, the programs that there's many foundations, and but they gotta be careful, man, because there's a lot of thieves.
It's a lot of thieves in the programs, you're
Yes,
saying?
Bob.
Explain. Break it down for us.
It's just horrible, Bob. It's full of Venezuelans, and they good people, they bad people. You know, some of them got, you know, treat the girls not good, but it's just places where you gotta make lines every single day, man. And the lines are just horrible.
Okay, so they do have programs and resources for people who get deported here, but would you say that the programs aren't very helpful?
Not at all.
Okay.
They don't help over shit because they use drugs inside.
Okay. So do you know anything as far as like if there's certain budgets
Nah, it's free.
Okay, so is it a
Free.
non-profit type of thing?
It's government shit, Bob.
Oh, okay, so the programs are funded by the government, but,
Yeah, but they are
not very helpful.
Sticking to this subject for a few minutes, I happen to love the way you carried this interview. You're very professional with everything.
Thank you, appreciate it.
No, my pleasure. Deportation is another nightmare, because a lot of people say, okay, I get deported and I will do 2 months in jail and back to my sweet home in Colombia. No. You get deported, they put you on a plane, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned it before, I don't want to repeat this again, and they put you in different places to different cities, picking up different Colombians. It's not just one Colombian in one plane.
Right.
You know, and this process can take 2, 3, 4 months.
Okay.
Remember the movie Scarface, where they had all these tents at the beginning?
Right.
That's where you stay,
Huh.
right? Until
Right.
those planes start getting full. And how they categorize those flights? Less dangerous people, more dangerous people, and there is a weight, you know? Females first with kids and stuff like that. And when you get to the city, you get first to El Dorado, Bogotá, because it's the capital. And over there, you have part of the DEA waiting for you.
Okay.
Because, you know, DEA established in Bogotá.
Waiting for you here in Colombia.
Exactly.
Okay.
To see the files from the States. And then the National Colombian Police will take over. You'll be in jail for a little more while, because this is not...
What's a little while? How long were you in jail when you first got here?
About a month and a half.
Okay.
About a month and a half, right? And then from there, they let you go. They try to get in touch with as much as family you have here. But guess what? You've been in the States for so long, making money, that you forget about your poor ones here. So the family that you have here don't want to do nothing with you, because you say, oh, now you're in trouble? Now
Right.
you need my help? but you're not gonna get shit, you know. So when you get deported, people don't want to help you out, you know. So you have and then you start making all these fucking moves here in Colombia, you know, the mayor's office. You know, what can I do? You know, I lived in New York for many years. I got deported for drug issues. I don't know where to go, so they start telling you, well, you have this shelter, you can do this, and you start losing power. I cannot get back to America. I'm in those, excuse me guys, I'm in those computers with a stamp that says either capture or DEA. So you start using drugs down here to forget depression because other family that you helped out a little bit, now they're not here to help out.
Right.
You know, so that's that part.
Okay, so let's go back to the deportation process before you made it here. So from what you were saying, they classify people who are going to be deported, like by the seriousness of their crimes and their circumstance.
Yeah,
so when you were deported here, you weren't brought here with murderers and criminals of a higher degree.
I was brought here with people, with very few people on my range. You can count them in one finger. You can count them in one hand and have a few fingers left, which it was people with the painkiller issues. People that were trying to introduce Vicodin and Percocet and Roxy for the first time. The second category was people that hadn't swallowed drugs, which is not a big offense, but of course you're trying to transport drugs on your stomach, cocaine and things like that. That's another set. And mothers with kids, you know, mothers that were able to smoke drugs but got caught on the other side of Texas, but with kids that had no clue. So, you know, that's a very low profile place. Now you got the big time drug dealers. People that got caught with 50 bricks. People that got caught with 100 bricks. They shake hands, they made a deal, they put the DA jackets. You know, so the rank starts going higher and higher and higher.
Okay, so how many people were on the plane with you when you were brought here to Colombia?
190 to 210.
Oh, okay, so it's a good amount of people. Okay, so you get here, no family, no resources, no programs.
They give you choices. They give you a couple of nights to sleep in cheap hotels. They send you to this.
Who gives you those nights to sleep in the cheap hotels?
The airport.
The airport. Oh, when you first get here.
Through the mayor's office.
Okay.
Of course, they have that ready for you. They're not just gonna.
So how many nights would you say they give you?
5 nights.
5 nights. Okay.
From there, you gotta go straight to these places, and that's when you start the process with this insane individual.
Okay, so when you, I just want to understand in more detail how it goes. So when you first get here, you go to jail, and then when you get out, do they give you the hotel vouchers? And you get 5 days of that. Okay, so your first day out, they give you these vouchers. The vouchers run out. What was it like from that point, once you run out of the 5 days of hotel living?
Started sleeping in the park.
Okay. So
Starving, going 2 days with no food, and that's where the process goes from me being a professional dispatcher with a fantastic, beautiful life in New York, the best nightclubs, Diesel jeans, True Religion, Chanel, Dior, to begging for money in the streets.
right, okay, so explain to us some of your worst experiences within the year that you've been here in the streets of Medellin, Colombia.
Asking for money to eat, people hitting me on the chest, on the face, kicking me, get the out of here, you know, you're a drug user, we don't need you, we're gonna stab you if we see you around again. It's just the worst feeling. JD.
Okay, so for people who don't know much about Medellin, Colombia, and the streets in it, are the neighborhoods controlled by gangs here?
Some of it.
Oh, some of them. Okay.
Some of it. In a way is good because there is a lot of delinquency here. There is a lot of robbery. I'm not going to speak bad about any community or any nationality. For the people that know and don't know, I don't want to mention it right now because I don't want to take any chances in the street right now. Some people know who they are, that are being taken over the city and are being very bad. But some people take over the city to take over a neighborhood, but they take power upon themselves so much that they just want to treat bad everybody else.
Okay, so Jesus, moving forward, where would you like to see yourself from this point?
JD, I'm a believer. I believe in God very strongly. Sometimes I have my questions for Him. I don't want to question Him too much because He's the higher power. But sometimes I doubt Him a lot. I want my life back. I know I made a mistake, but I had no clue I made this huge mistake. And I want help. If anybody out there has a big heart enough to help me out, maybe perhaps financially, a little bit through you, JD, because a lot of people will be like, yeah, we would like to help this guy financially, but where's the money gonna go? No, I don't want cash in my pocket. I want, if anything, you in charge of this channel, that if somebody gets in touch with you, I give permission that you take over any account or any little peso or dollar that will come from me to get my clothes, perhaps get a room, fix my papers, get a ticket, get back to America, work with you. But anybody that sees that, yes, I'm pretty sure somebody will be like, oh God, I want to send this guy $20, I want to send this guy $100. No, send him to JD. He will manage the money, make sure that I don't do nothing bad for it. I want my life back.
Okay, so ultimately you would like to get back to your original life, back to the United States, back to New York, living the life that you were living before you got caught up in this whirlwind. But you know, there's a lot of resourceful people in the world who might be able to help you in different ways other than just financially. But ultimately your main objective is to get back to the States and get back to New York and get back to your life.
Yes, sir.
Huh. Well, I don't think that's too much to ask, and
I want to thank you for this beautiful interview, for the time you had with me. You're a gentleman. I think you got a piece of my heart, JD. And since you was the one that became with this idea, you have all the right to be in charge of whatever happens with my life right now.
Well, man, Jesus, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your honesty in this interview, and hopefully we'll be able to follow this up with some positive news in the future.
And do me a favor. Don't lift no more weight. You're going to get too big.
Thank you, man.
My pleasure. Have a good, and God bless everybody, guys. Thank you for everybody for listening to me.